What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Jake Paulson podcast. This week, we have another solo episode. This one's talking all about how to create a schedule, okay? Because everything you do is part of your schedule in your life. I hope you guys have enjoyed the podcast up to this far. I appreciate all the feedback that I've gotten and all the kudos I've gotten as well. I think creating a podcast has been one of the coolest things that I've done in my life up to today. So I really appreciate you guys and helping me out with all this quality of microphone, all the technical stuff that I don't really know how to do. So I appreciate that as well. Today, we're going to be talking about how to create a schedule. Okay, and I'm going to start off with a quote from John C. Maxwell. He says, "The secret of your success is determined by your daily agenda." The secret of your success is determined by your daily agenda. Your daily agenda is literally the fact of your life. Literally, what you do every day is a fact. It's not a concept. We're not talking about a concept here today, folks. It is a fact. You're listening to this podcast. That's a fact. That's in your daily agenda. You're doing laundry on a Sunday. That's a fact. You are doing that. It's in your agenda. You're going out with friends on a Thursday afternoon. That's a fact. It's in your schedule. It's in your agenda. And what I've noticed from most people is that they have two parts of their schedule. And you might be in this category: work time and free time. Work time and free time. And some of you guys out there are students too, so school is part of that. School might be like work time, but you think of it as school time. Most of the time, it is either I'm at work or I'm having free time doing something else. That's what I've seen from most people's schedules when you look at it. And they're not so scheduled, really. They're not regimented. Now, have you guys ever noticed how some people look like they're just doing everything? How you see them on social media, or you just work with them and they're doing everything. They're at work early. They're at work late. They're still have time to do all these other side quests in their life. They still have stories from all these things. They still get to travel. They have all this, time built up to do this stuff. Some of those people you might not like that much. Some of these people you might be sick of seeing their face. Okay? I know that feeling. All right? But how are they doing it? How do they have time for all of the freaking things that they're doing? Well, I wondered that same thing myself. So I set on a mission to try to find out how those people have so much time to do all this stuff and what their, what does their daily schedule look like? Because there's no way they can do all of that. There's no way. And what I found, and I can say this from myself, from my point of view, what I found is not only do they have the same amount of time in the day as me, but they have more frickin' free time. They have more free time than me, and they have the same amount of time in a day. So going back to what John C. Maxwell was talking about, your success lies in your daily agenda. What are you doing on a consistent basis to help you produce more time for yourself? So today, we're going to go through exactly how to create a schedule using a 4-step acronym. That's going to help you. It's going to help you produce more and grow your business, your leadership, and your community. So let's dive in. Okay, first step, the letter P. P stands for pan out. So if you think about your life, put a fisheye lens on it and just pan out. What's going on in your life right now that you can see? Okay, let's actually take a whole eagle view and let's look at your life. So let's take a look at how you're spending your time. To do this, you need to take a look at your week. Okay, you can do this other ways. You can take a look at your day. You can take a look at the month. Successful people look at exactly what month what they're going to be doing this month. They also look at what they're going to be doing this year. Some people are so scheduled out, but let's just dial it back. Let's just do a week. A week has 168 hours. Okay? So if you go through and write every single thing that you do in a week on a weekly basis. Now, if you have one thing that you do for a month, like an hour every month, you don't have to put that in there. Just do what you do on a weekly basis. Write all those things down that you do. And what I want you to do is put a number of hours that you do that per week. So sleep as well. Yes, put sleep in there. Easy one. Let's just focus on sleep. How many hours of sleep do you want to get per night to make you feel well rested? Is it 8? Is it 7? Is it 6? Is it 9? Times that by 7, obviously you have a week, right? That's part of that 168 hours. Yes, we're going to calculate sleep into this as well. And if you're having trouble coming up with some things, here's some ideas. I'll just lay them out there. Hopefully they're like memory joggers. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Everybody spends time eating per day. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Okay, so if you eat 30 for every single thing, that's an hour and a half per day. Times that by 7. That's how many hours you're eating during the week. Maybe you only eat 2 meals. I don't know. Morning and night routine. Seems to me that everybody has a morning and night routine. Your commute to and from work. Your work itself. Again, some of you guys are students. School. Do you work with school? Make those separate categories. Your exercise. Again, sleep, your homework, or your work assignments. What do you bring home stuff for work? Do you have to do work at home? Television, YouTube. How many hours a week are you watching television? Easy way to figure that out. How many hours a day do you watch it? How many hours a day do you watch YouTube? Times that by 7. Or times it by 5. Add more on the weekends. Whatever you do on the weekends. Yes, you're going down 7 days. Friend time. Family time. How many hours are you dedicating to your family? How many hours are you dedicating to friends? Social media. Big one. A good way to track this is by going into your settings. I think there's a way to actually look through your social media and see how long you're spending on it. Church, these are all things that you could be doing on a weekly basis. They're just ideas. If you don't go to church, don't put that in there. These are all just memory joggers to give you some things to work from. There's a lot more that I didn't cover that could be hobbies. For me, I love golfing. I dedicate time to go to the golf simulator that I have here because I love it. It's fun. Helps me decompress. It's a good thing for me to go do. So these are just the most common things. Again, your job is to attach a number of hours you do these individual things each week. Some of them are going to be easier than others, like work. I work 40 hours a week, so that's easy. 40 hours, block that off. Some of them aren't going to be as easy to calculate. You might have to really think about how many hours you spend with friends during the week, how many hours you spend with family, how many hours you spend watching TV. And if you do things 2 nights a week, okay, you got to factor that in. So once you've done everything, and I'm not saying look at a vacation week, okay, that we are looking at a regular week, an average week for you, a typical week, not a vacation, not any of this stuff. Once you've given everything a task and you're every task a number of hours, total them up. The number should not be higher than 168. Should not be higher than 168. If it is, you've done something wrong because that's too many hours in a week. So go back. You fooled yourself somewhere. The number should be closer to like 130, 140, maybe even 150 something. But it should give you an idea of exactly how much time you're spending in a week. Then, once you've totaled the number of hours up, subtract that from 168. That is how much time you have left in your week of free time. And that's not even including friend time. That's not even including social media time. That's not even you already got whatever habits that you're doing out of the way that you want to be doing during the week. You've gotten those out of the way. This is how much free time you literally have besides sleep, besides all those things. where did the time go? It's like a magic trick. It's like a magic trick. The truth is that it went to one of those things that you put, you just didn't realize. You didn't notice it. You just slipped into a coma of social media, and 2 hours later, you came out. Someone knocked on your door. I'm guilty of that. Man, social media sucks you in. But successful people notice it. They'll notice their time going. They'll notice it slipping away from them. There's a saying that goes, what you focus on grows. What you focus on grows. If I shine this lamp on a piece of paper, it's not gonna start a fire. But if I shine a magnifying glass from the sun, that's gonna make this tiny little light that's gonna focus in and make a fire in that piece of paper. What you focus on grows. You'll notice all those little time wasters. And that brings us to letter L, lay out priorities. So now you're going to lay them all out. Now I'm going to give you guys a mental picture of priorities. This is what Stephen Covey talks about in his 7 Habits of Highly Effective People book. He talks about this 4-quadrant, drill you can do. On the left side, going up and down, you have level of importance. And on the top of the 4 quadrants, you have urgency, level of urgency. Now, just to be clear, quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4, you're going to have urgent but not important, or important but not urgent and important, and then not urgent and not important. Okay, urgents are the tasks that need to be done in your face, the things that you need to do. Those are the crisis, the pressing problems, deadline-driven projects, right? The things that you set for yourself, you're like, I got to get this done right now. It is urgent, right? That's urgent and important, by the way. Those are the crisis, the pressing problems. Important is what's good for your goals. So if it's urgent and important, it's good for your goals, but it's also something you need to get done today, this instant. Second quadrant, being not urgent but important, is going to be things like relationships. Those aren't necessarily urgent, but they're very important. Recognizing new opportunities, seeing the problems as opportunities in the future. Again, panning out, planning, scheduling. So on Sundays, when I sit down and I do my whole schedule, I do what I'm going to be doing for the week. Usually for the year, like New Year's Eve, I sat down and I planned out what I wanted to accomplish this year. Those are things that are important but not urgent. Most people don't do those. Most people just put them off until it's in quadrant 1. Quadrant 3, interruptions. Those are things like that are urgent but they're not important. Things that interrupt you. Phone calls. Some of them are really important, right? Most phone calls, they're not that important. They can be done over text. Meetings that pop up, random meetings, popular activities that people go to. That's urgent but not important. And then the last quadrant, quadrant 4, not urgent, not important at all. That's busy work. That's time wasters. That's pleasant activities that you do. Now, I'm not saying don't cut those out. I'm just saying notice them. That's the first step, to notice them. Don't just cut them out of your life. Notice them. So, find out what your priorities are. You can do this by making a list like we did before. Take that list that you made, put those into the quadrants, and then now you can actually do that. Or you could just take a mental picture. The bottom line is, everybody, the more you do this, the easier it's going to get to realize what's important, what's urgent, what's not important, really quickly. Like, successful people can do this in an instant. It's just ingrained in their mind. Okay, there's this thing that I have to do. That's really, really important, but I'm actually going to procrastinate that until Wednesday because I have a lot of free time on Wednesday. Monday I have for this. That's my creating day. Tuesdays that's me meeting the whole team day. Wednesday I actually have some free time. They can just do that in an instant in their head. If something's not urgent, not important, they're like, no, I'm not even going to touch that. I'll delegate that. Someone else can do that task because I don't need it in my schedule. You can get really, really good at this. You can ask someone, hey, in October, what are you doing? In October, well, let me check my schedule, pull out their phone, boom. Well, I have this weekend free, I'm doing something this weekend, but I have that weekend. It's all in there. It's like they've done this before, right? They're masters of their schedule. So really, you're going to find out what's a good use of your time and what's not. And that leads us to the third letter, A. A stands for add them to your schedule. I use the best thing out there. It's called Google Calendar. It's the best. I can attach it to my phone. It's an app. It's on my computer. Anybody that has a Gmail account has a Google Calendar. You have one, you just haven't put anything in there. If you type in calendar.google.com, it'll pop up. If you use it, things will pop up. If you don't use it, nothing's going to pop up. But it's going to be a blank schedule. It's going to be a template for you to use. A couple reasons why I like Google Calendar. This is a paid advertisement. No, I'm just kidding. But a couple reasons why I like Google Calendar is because, for one, it connects to everything that I have, every device that I have. It even connects to my watch. It'll give me notifications before things are happening in my schedule from my watch, which I love. Let's see. What else do I like? I like that it's color-coded. Not because I can make it fancy, but because I can give my brain will obviously adapt into different what's going to be happening during the day. One click of the button, I can put a task in there, just write what it is. Sleep. Yes, I put sleep in there. I'll come back to why that's important later. But sleep, put that in there. When I wake up, important things, important dates, obviously, those are good to have. It'll literally send you a notification. You can set it to 30 minutes before, 15 minutes before, a day before, an hour, whatever it is. Another reason why I like it too is because it's connected to everybody. Almost everybody has a Google account, a Gmail account. So if, say I wanted to meet up with this person and they have a Google Calendar, or even just a Gmail in general, I just type add participant, share this with somebody, and I'll share the event with them. And it'll literally go to their email, but it'll also go to their calendar. So when they pull up their calendar, it'll be in there. And then they just accept it, and it'll fully be in there. So those are just a couple reasons, and it's the easiest thing. I mean, on your phone, you can create an event easily. You can look at anything that you're doing. It's like, literally, this is a fact of what you're doing. And the cool part about having sleep in there and having all these tasks and doing like if you looked at my schedule 2 years ago, it's insane. I literally marked down everything that I did from the moment I woke up to the moment I went to bed. Same with last year. What's cool about that is because I can look at that a year ago and know exactly what I was doing on this day. Gosh, when did I talk to that person? I feel like I called them on, it had to have been like this date. I feel like I had a meeting with them 2 years ago. Oh, let me go back. Found it. It was literally at 3 p.m. on April 18th. These things that you would never be able to do if you didn't track your schedule, right? Another thing that's good is because on Sundays, this is the day to sit down and look over your schedule. How many hours of sleep did I actually get this week? I got 70 hours of sleep. That's 10 hours a day. Okay, I can cut that down. I can get 10 more hours into my week. Okay, I stayed up till 4 a.m. this night. Gosh, hate putting that in my schedule, right? And another thing about it too is you get to really see the rawness of what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, on the weekends, on Wednesday night, whatever it is. I'll wake up at like 9 or 10 a.m. sometimes and I'll feel like, gosh, I should be doing something. I don't know. That's how my brain works. Most people would probably be like, oh, it's 10 a.m. I wish I could wake up that late. But to me, it's like, dang it. I got a lot of sleep, yes, but I should have been doing something. And what I don't like is having to put it in my schedule. But then I do it and I realize, I shouldn't have done that, right? I should be better about, waking up on time, more disciplined. So that's adding them to your schedule. Once you've done that, we move on to the final letter, N. No excuses, just action. No excuses, just action. All you got to do is follow what you put in your schedule. And then where adjustments need to be made, make them. Like I said, Sundays are always a good time to reflect on the week before you create the new week. So you should spend an hour, reflect on the week, or 30 minutes, whatever. It doesn't take that long. Reflect on the week you just had, then go to the new week and put everything in. Put reoccurring things. Every week from 9 to 5, I'm working. Put that in there and press reoccurring on every weekday. Boom, your schedule's half made by the time Sunday comes around for the next week. And by doing this over and over and over again, you're going to start to notice some things. You're going to start to realize that you can make decisions a lot quicker than you thought. And you can make decisions on what to say yes to because it's worth your time. See opportunities before they even happen. And maybe more importantly, you can find out what to say no to. Just like that. You can find out what to say no to. Because they're not urgent, they're not important, so get them out of here. At least I'll dedicate a tiny bit of time. I'm not going to stay out till 4 in the morning. I'm going to, come back a little bit earlier this time. So when people ask you, what are you doing on X, Y, and Z? Because we got this thing planned. Now you know. So that is it for this episode of the Jake C. P.L.A.N podcast. If you guys like this, found this helpful, give a like to it. Leave a comment in the description or in the comment section. Give me some feedback. My socials will be at the end of this. So if you want to DM me personally, give me some feedback. That's always helpful. Also, leave a follow. Content is coming out every single Monday. So you will get a notification when you follow. It'll come out, hopefully early in the morning, but sometimes midday, depending on what the day is. And really, really urgent too and important in quadrant 1. Share this with a friend. Please. If you found this helpful, if you didn't find it helpful, don't. But if you found this helpful, share it with a friend. Share it with that one other person. It takes literally that share button. Press them they're probably at the top of your list of who you've been texting. Press them. Boom. Sends right to them. Just say, hey, watch this. You might get something out of it. Who knows? Maybe they won't. Maybe they will. But it's very, very helpful to me in the podcast itself, but it's also helpful to the listeners as well. So I really, really appreciate that. I'm dedicated to adding value to those who are striving to be better in themselves, their business, or their community. So stay tuned for next week's episode. And as always, let's get after it. Peace.